Hey, family. I have done a lot of content over the past few months all around what an enrolled agent is. I've talked about the different responsibilities of an enrolled agent, how an enrolled agent differentiates from a CPA or your everyday tax professional that's maybe done the AFSP program. But what I realized is that not everybody knows how to become an enrolled agent, even if they're interested in it. I've even had tax professionals reach out to me and say, "Oh, wow, I didn't know enrolled agents do representation. What is that?" But I'll address that in a different video. Today, I want to talk about how to become an enrolled agent. If you're new to me, let me introduce myself. My name is Timalyn Bowens, and I am America's favorite EA. As an enrolled agent, I'm licensed through the Internal Revenue Service to represent taxpayers in all 50 states. I have unlimited practice rights. This means I can help taxpayers that owe the IRS and can't pay in full. And in my business, Bowen's Tax Solutions, that's primarily who we serve. Taxpayers that cannot pay their tax debt of $100,000 or more in full. We also help taxpayers that are actively being audited or levied by the IRS, which means they're all up in their bank account or they're garnishing their paycheck. All right. If you're a tax professional and you want a way to enhance what you can do for taxpayers. If you're a tax professional and you really enjoy helping them solve their different problems, whether it's reducing their tax liability with tax planning, or you'd like to do the representation work and be able to step into their shoes as a substitute, this video today is for you. All right. So I've already explained what an enrolled agent is. They are tax practitioners that are licensed through the Internal Revenue Service and they have unlimited practice rights, but they're also authorized to do tax preparation, tax planning, tax representation, and tax consulting. All right. The EA credential is the highest designation that the IRS awards to a tax professional. Only enrolled agents, CPAs, and tax attorneys can do tax representation work before the IRS. So that's a big deal, okay? But when we look at how to become an enrolled agent, first we want to look at the prerequisites, all right? First and foremost, let's look at education. With the education requirement, the IRS wants you to have at minimum a high school diploma, all right? If you have a high school diploma, we've checked that box. We can go to the next step. The next step is for you to have a P10. So a P10 is a prepared tax identification number. So the way I like to look at it, it's like a social security number, but for tax professionals, because the IRS is going to use this. Excuse me. I like to keep it raw and real here, so I'm not going to edit that out. The IRS uses your P10 to track the different tax returns that you've completed. Also, when you do tax representation work and you call into the IRS, you'll have to verify what your P10 is because it's your identification number. Now, they also use it to track your continuing education, which there are continuing education requirements for enrolled agents because, after all, it's the highest credential that the IRS awards. So the education requirements are up to a higher standard and bar. Okay. So once a taxpayer has met the requirements of having a high school diploma, then they have their P10, they can apply to sit for what we call the special enrollment exam, more commonly known as the EA exam. The EA exam is 3 parts. All right. So the IRS isn't worried about what you studied so much in college because on this exam, it's a comprehensive test to show your knowledge and your ability to do research in 3 different areas. Section 1 is individual taxation. This is what is going to deal with Your average taxpayer is going to file a 1040. It's also going to deal with individuals, or I'm sorry, not individuals, estate and trust returns. Okay. Then we have Section 2. Section 2 is often looked at as the hardest part of the exam. That's because it deals with business returns. So think your LLCs, your S corporation, your corporations, partnerships, all right? Anything in the business sphere. Now, personally, for me, this wasn't the hardest because I had experience from a well-known big CPA firm, actually top 10 in the world, all right? Internationally, the whole world, not just the United States. So day in and day out, I was working on those types of returns. So when you're looking at different statistics and what people say, take into consideration what type of experience you have and what type of experience you don't have. That's going to be more of a dictator of which part is actually harder for you. Okay? So we have part one, this individuals, part two, this business, part three is going to be tax law and the actual representation, making sure that you understand what taxpayers' rights are and what rights and authority that you will have as an enrolled agent representing these taxpayers. It also goes a bit over Circular 230. Once you're an enrolled agent, you are governed by Circular 230, which is the ethics that we have to adhere by. Because remember, the highest credential that the IRS awards is going to be held to a higher standard of ethics versus just your average tax professional. Now, if you're a taxpayer listening to this, keep that in mind while you're in the market for a new professional. Do you want somebody that's not really governed by any guidelines, or do you want somebody that's going to be held to a higher bar of accountability? Just something to consider, right? So we've gone from having the high school diploma, got the P10. We've applied to take the three different parts of the exam, which, by the way, these exams are given at Prometric testing centers. You can go to a Prometric website and register for your test date and get that all set up. Each section right now is $206 to apply for to be able to take that test. So in full, as of 11/7/2023, you're looking at $618 to sit for the EA exam. All right. Now, once you've actually passed the three parts of this exam, you can now apply to become an enrolled agent before the Internal Revenue Service. This application is called Form 23. All right. And there is an application fee with this as well. You will be able to pay this fee on pay.gov. You'll just select what you're making the payment for. Now, when you're filling out this application, there are going to be a few other things that are also required because remember, you're the highest credential the IRS gives out. That's what we're going for. So, there are a few more standards. You are going to have to do what's called a suitability check. So if the IRS does not already have your fingerprints on file, so if you're not an ERO, so an electronic return originator, you are going to have to get fingerprinted. Now you can get this done at the police station, sometimes the post office. I believe I had mine done at UPS, and you're going to have to mail that in so the IRS has that on their database. Number two, you're going to be doing tax representation, right? Helping other taxpayers with their IRS issues. So part of your suitability check is that you don't have any IRS issues. So the IRS wants to make sure that you have no outstanding tax debt. But if you do, all hope is not lost. You can make sure you have some type of payment arrangement and that you are making whatever payments are necessary for the current year so you are in compliance. If you're unfamiliar with this is often called an installment agreement. I have a podcast, Tax Relief with Timalyn Bowens, and it streams on all podcast platforms. Episode 10 is going to walk you through what an installment agreement is. If you currently have back tax debt and you're interested in becoming an enrolled agent, you need to make sure you get that taken care of so you can pass your suitability check. So I highly advise that you go check that episode out. But here's a bonus. If this is your first time ever owing and you can get it paid off within 36 months, you've been a compliant taxpayer before this, you may be guaranteed a payment plan. And I wrote an ebook to walk you through how to do that online or make a phone call and do it on your own behalf. So if that's you, I'll put the link to the video down below in the description. Okay. So we've got the P10. We have sat for all of the tests at Prometric, passed all 3 parts. We sent in this application form 23, and then we passed the suitability check. The IRS is then going to send you your enrollment card because congratulations, now you are a part of an elite club that represents taxpayers and advocates on their behalf. If you found this video worthwhile, helpful, let me know in the comments. If you want more information on how to become a better EA, let me know that in the comments too. But before I go, I want to give you a personal invitation. So, part of the reason that I have been doing content around the topic of enrolled agents is because I actually have a community to help enrolled agents, to give them what I didn't have when I became an enrolled agent. It's called the Tax Pros Representation Journey. And on this journey, each Monday, I do a private podcast that talks about the mindset that you need to have to be able to represent taxpayers. Not only that, I walk you through how to get your first client, even if you don't have a big social media following, even if you don't want to look at the tax lien list, even if you don't like direct calling. All right. I help you with getting clients, how to maintain the client, but most importantly, build your confidence so you know how to do the work. Every Monday, you'll have a podcast, and every Wednesday, you'll have an article walking you through different steps to implement to better yourself as an EA and your book of business. But not only that, you'll also be a part of a private community where you'll be able to share different notices that your clients have received, different issues and roadblocks that you're running into. And not only will you have my guidance in there, you'll also have the help of other members that are part of the community. If you're interested, check out the subscription. I'll also leave the link to that down below in the comments. But thank you so much for watching this video. As I tell taxpayers, back taxes shouldn't ruin your life. And guess what? If you become an enrolled agent, you will help make that true because you'll help stop back taxes from ruining somebody's life.